Hello and welcome to another edition of the Hooligan Report. I'm joined once again by Cooksen.
I've misplaced my knife sharpener. Can someone find it?
And we're joined for the first time by the one, the only, Jod.
Oh, geez. What an introduction. What an introduction.
How have you been, mate? How have you found... we'll start with an easy one. We'll start with just asking you about Liverpool's season and how you've found it as a whole.
Pretty good, really. It started badly because we kept Rodgers in the summer, which most of the fan base, I think, didn't really want. But then when he went, and of course Klopp came in, I mean, that was just so exciting for pretty much everyone connected to the club. I mean, he's a world-class manager. No one can deny that for sure. And the results didn't really get super better. Like, we didn't, suddenly become the champions of the universe or anything. But slowly but surely they got better. And I think 2 cup finals goes to show the strides we're making under Klopp. And, really excited for the Europa League final, of course, and super excited for next season. But then again, it's boom bust cycle, isn't it? So,
Well, I was going to ask you about Rodgers. Was there any sort of regret with him leaving after the season where he did get you up to finishing second? Was that season more evidence of what he's capable of, or do you think that was just getting Suarez at his peak, Sturridge fit, Sterling firing, and it was more just sort of everything came together for him?
that one divides the fan base. A lot of people have no time for Rodgers and were happy to see him go, but a lot of others were very thankful for his time. I'm kind of in the middle of it as well. It's like, look, when someone like you, Klopp, is available, you don't worry about it, do you? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, would you? You'd love him. You'd love him at Hooligan.
Oh, mate,
I'm sure Cook's United as well.
He loves the yellow and black teams. I thought we might be able to lure him over.
Yeah, yeah, you never know, right?
So on Klopp then, obviously he's had a pretty decent impact for you guys. He had a bit of a purple patch at the start, and then results sort of dropped away a little bit in the middle, but you've obviously picked up again at the end. I think it's 12 unbeaten at home as well, which is pretty impressive run. What sort of signings do you see yourselves making in the summer to sort of take that next step with him?
I've banged on about it on the forums, haven't I? But I think Mario Götze is a wild dream. But you fall in love with the romantic of it all, don't you? The romanticism of it. But he'd be huge for us. And I know some of the Spurs fans on Big Footy actually have said, oh, you don't need attacking midfielders. You've got Lallana, you've got Firmino, you've got Coutinho, and all the rest of it. But Götze is such a world class talent that you just bring him in and you worry about it later. But we need help in central midfield as well. We need help in anywhere in defence and goal. Jesus Christ, we need to get rid of Mignolet, don't we?
Obviously, it's interesting up top as well to see what you do with those strikers that you have on the books, with Balotelli still on the books, which is a bit amazing to think about. But obviously Benteke as well. And the other interesting one is Sturridge. How do you see his relationship with Klopp? Because obviously there's been a bit of talk about whether he's in favour, whether he's out of favour, whether he's off in the summer, all sorts of things.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall, that's for sure, with those two. You don't really know what's going on, do you? But Sturridge seems... Sturridge seems very unhappy whenever he gets subbed, so I don't think it matters if Klopp was your manager or if I was managing Liverpool. I think he'd still be mad at getting taken off. So I don't know. He's fully fit now, but you feel that if Origi wasn't injured, he'd be behind Divock Origi in the pecking order, and I don't think that's going to sit well with Daniel Sturridge moving forward. But we won't know the conclusion to that until next season because Origi's pretty much gone for the entire year. So I don't think he'll go in the summer. I think Balotelli and Benteke will definitely go. And I think we'll move forward with Origi and Sturridge, and Danny Ings will be back. So that should be all right. But whether we bring in another striker or not is the question that goes around with a lot of the Liverpool fans. Whether we think the three of those will be enough with goals from Firmino and Coutinho, and maybe if you bring in someone like with the class of Mario Götze as well. But we'll find out in the summer, I guess.
Obviously, we'll talk about United in a second against West Ham, but with West Ham getting the win there, it does sort of open the door a little bit for you guys to even push as high as fifth. Obviously, if you get the win over Chelsea tomorrow morning, you're only 2 points behind United. Does the league table really mean anything to you at this stage, or is it all about preparing for Europa?
does. I always want to finish as high as possible, but it also, if we don't win against Sevilla and end up 8th, we got no European football. So, and beating Sevilla is no, it's not a guarantee or anything, is it? So, look, I want to win the last 2 games and finish as high as possible. Minimum at least 6th. If we can't finish in front of West Ham, come on, it's West Ham, isn't it?
Fair enough. Cookson, did you have any questions for him?
Yeah. Well, I've seen some debate. Who would be better or more impact, Firmino or Coutinho? I've seen those questions flying around on Twitter.
Well, there's a big debate going on about our player of the season at the moment, whether it's Coutinho or Firmino, and I couldn't tell you either, really. I think Firmino struggled when he first came, but Brendan Rodgers wasn't playing in any of the right positions. I mean, he was playing in wide as a winger, and it wasn't working. And as soon as Klopp came in, he suddenly transformed into the £29 million player we bought in the first place. But then he had a real purple patch after Christmas and was banging in goals and scoring and handing out assists. And then he kind of had a small injury and then fell off a little bit. And now he's just come back. He scored on the second on the weekend, didn't he? Against, who did we play on the weekend?
Watford.
Watford, yeah, he scored the second against Watford. The keeper probably should have kept that out, but anyway. But then Coutinho is just all class, isn't he? We're just about a side with Coutinho on the pitch. We struggle when Coutinho doesn't play. Just when he comes deep and he gets the ball, he always likes to turn and drive at defences, and he just opens up play. He's a different level, Coutinho. But if I was given out the Player of the Year, it'd be to my boy Emre Can, though, so because he's just in beast mode pretty much all the time.
Yeah, there's a few underrated players going around at a couple of clubs. So Chan's an interesting one, actually, that you bring up, because I think I feel like those sorts of midfielders don't really get the recognition they deserve. I mean, you even look at the Leicester side at the moment. Kante's getting a lot of recognition, but for a lot of the season, the focus was on Mahrez and Vardy, and it was only probably halfway, 3/4 of the way through the season that people sort of started realising the impact that Kante had on that side. I suspect it might not be to the same extent, but I suspect Chan's a similar player for you guys.
Did either of you guys see the second leg against Villarreal?
I missed that one, actually.
I was sleeping.
Yeah, I figured you guys would be. But Chan just came back from that nasty ankle injury he had. He hadn't played previously. We started him, and he was a one-man wrecking crew, I'll tell you. If you see the highlights, or if you get a chance to watch it, it was just... It's not that he controlled midfield, which he just controlled the game, but it was so effortless for him, and he seemed very mature in his positioning, and when he stormed forward, when he was breaking up play, it was just a really mature sort of performance. And if we get more of that going forward next season, I tell you, I know I like to pump up my players, but I bought that Emre Can, man. He's got a big ceiling.
You never do that,
He's got a big ceiling. No, I never do that, man. So yeah, all Liverpool players are shit, really.
Well, you heard it here.
Yeah,
go for it. No, it's fine. You heard it here first, folks. We'll move on to the reviews then. We got a few games from over the weekend and a game this morning to chat about before we move into the previews. And I guess we'll kick things off with this morning. I was just spewing. I didn't actually get to watch it. The cable's out at my place, so I had to rely on a bit of a row down the sorry?
Down the river.
Yeah, and it was not a great connection, so I missed. I think I missed Reed's winning goal. Well, we'll move on to the reviews, I should say, and we'll start with that United early game against Norwich, which all but confirms Norwich's relegation, I would think. I mean, they've got a game in hand, which they're playing tomorrow morning against Watford. I suppose if they win that, there's somewhat of a chance, but you'd have to say of the 3 sides, they're definitely the rank outsiders to survive, especially with that loss to United. Cooksen, it was a pretty underwhelming performance from United, and then I guess we can draw in that loss this morning to West Ham as well in the conversation. 2 pretty disappointing performances for different reasons, I suspect. How have you found those 2 results from United?
Yeah, again, disappointing. You should put more goals past Norwich. Set the team up better. I mean, and then this morning's game was just... Well, It was
Hilarious.
fucking mentally ill.
Yeah, hilarious is probably the word I'd use as well.
Not just. I mean, you wouldn't see Roy Keane or a Fergie side come and say, "Oh, it's a difficult game." Blah blah blah. That's defeatist. I mean, they threw bottles on it. You think Fergie would say, "Oh yeah, just it's difficult"? No, he'll be like, "Right, stuff them." And then so much fouling. It's like managed to make players stupid, which is just bizarre. I mean,
Philosophy, though.
ugh.
Did you see the footage of Lingard in the bus?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. What was that about? He was acting so weird.
He looked like he was having a good time about it.
Yeah. They looked really
Well-
ready and primed for that game.
Yeah.
But still, Martial played well again.
What's the first time he scored 2 goals in half a season, isn't it? So he's kind of kept his
He
form.
didn't mean that second one, I tell you. You guys
Yeah.
see it?
Yeah, I think I've seen. Which one was the second one? I know the first one was
Well, the
Still-
first one was a tap-in.
yeah, the tap in across the goal, wasn't it? Yeah. What was the second one?
The second one, he takes someone on the byline, and I think he goes
Oh,
to
that's
cross
right. It looks like a
sort of-
cross. Yeah.
Still,
Yeah, I don't
they
think
all
it makes-
count in the end.
But it was
Yeah,
sort
they all
of
count. They all count.
it was quite fitting that West Ham won in their last game at Upton Park, I suppose. And as the commentators were saying, if they'd told the owners of West Ham when they first opened the ground back in 1904 that the last goal would be scored by a Kiwi, I think that'd be a pretty far-fetched sort of proposition. So it's a bit of an interesting one for that winning goal, but
Comes a trivia question worldwide.
oh yes,
Yeah, last goal scored, yeah.
yeah. There were some other pretty important results over the weekend, particularly Sunderland's 3-2 win at Chelsea, and it was a pretty amazing game because Chelsea managed to go up 2-1 after Sunderland opened the scoring, but then Defoe, with a late strike, managed to seal the win for Sunderland, and it's starting to look pretty grim for Newcastle, who couldn't manage to get past a pretty poor Aston Villa defence, I've got to say. Aston Villa keeping a clean sheet isn't too common an affair. So I'll ask both of you, but who do you see as the side surviving relegation at the moment? I'll start with Jod.
Well, I tell you, the two things that would survive a nuclear holocaust would be cockroaches and Sunderland in the Premier League. I'm telling you, Sunderland will be fine now. I don't know how they've done it, but Newcastle bottled it against Villa. And, Chelsea were just doing Chelsea things, weren't they? So,
Cooksen?
yeah, Sunderland will stay up. Norwich and Newcastle will go down.
Yeah.
I mean, Sunderland do have a game in hand. And,
Against Everton as well, that's the issue.
yeah. But still, you'd back them in to win it, and it's just
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I mean, Everton is so poor at the moment.
The problem
Sunderland
is
have
Newcastle Spurs, so Newcastle aren't going to be Spurs.
Newcastle have a half-decent record against Spurs, though, I think. I think they might have beaten them earlier this season. Yeah, it's a tough one to call, but if Sunderland beat Everton, it's over. It's mathematically done. So, yeah, sorry, what were you saying, Cookson?
Well, just Sunderland have started this really annoying thing of being complete crap till about April. Then like, oh yeah, we're a football team,
They're like the new Wigan, basically.
Cockroaches.
and we all. It's like the level of hatred's rising with every season. Just die already. They're like a bad zombie in a horror movie.
The other significant result for final places was probably Man City drawing 2-2 with Arsenal, with I think it was Arsenal getting the late goal in that one through Alexis Sanchez. There's a pretty real chance now that City could actually miss the top four. United losing to West Ham this morning probably didn't help that, and I think City have Swansea on the last day, who at the moment seem to be just beating everyone. But do we see a chance that United could make the top four? I probably know Jod's answer to this one, but I'll start with you anyway, Jod.
Well, is City at home? Do we know? Is City away?
I
Or?
think City are at home. I'll double check that.
No, they're away because they had the whole fancy
Oh,
Pellegrini
that's right, yeah,
thing when
yeah,
no one
they are.
showed up.
They're away at Swansea.
Oh well, it's a chance, isn't it? But United are at home, aren't they, against Bournemouth? So they should win that.
Yeah.
But you never know with United because they are utterly gash.
Could be a draw.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
being pro Liverpool and everything, but I tell you, this United side is one of the worst United sides I've seen ever since I started following football, I think. And to think that they could actually finish top four, it's an indictment on the whole season, isn't it, really?
Cookson, what are your
Least
thoughts?
deserving top four winners ever.
Oh, man.
if it
I
happens,
hate
it'll just
United,
be.
tell me, but they are woeful.
It's just, yeah, again, it's just like players are stupid. Tactics are wrong. I mean, literally, how hard can it be to just, play well? Just kick the ball to the guy in the same shirt.
You got to ask half the league that.
I mean,
You know
Raineri's
what I
did that and
found
he
with
won a title.
Sorry, Jod?
you know what I found with that game on the last night, sorry, the West Ham game. You'd never see that under Alex Ferguson or anything. When United come back, they roar into the lead, and the game's over. Then they kill it, they win, they go on with it. They probably go on and score another couple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they took the lead, and 2 minutes later, West Ham were level. They're mental midgets, Man United. Mental midgets under LVG.
He'll surely
Get
be,
Roberto.
he'll be shown the door in the summer, so that'll be an interesting one. Probably the two most interesting games tomorrow morning with Sunderland against Everton, which we'll chat about in a second. But we'll start with Liverpool at home to Chelsea.
Cracking game.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, but it's pretty likely that both squads are going to rotate a fair amount. Do you think, Jod, or do you reckon this will be kind of the last game that we'll see your Firminos, your Sturridges, and so on, and that they'll be rested on the weekend?
Yeah, from what I've read, we're going to go full strength tonight, and we'll rest for the weekend against West Brom. So we give the first team players who are going to be involved against Sevilla the full week's break.
Right.
So I'd expect us to go in pretty full strength tonight. But I've also heard that Chelsea are going to go in pretty light. A lot of kids are playing. I think Costa's suspended, isn't he? And Terry's out. So
Yeah, I think Costa, Ivanovic, and Pedro are all injured, and then Terry's suspended. And yeah, there was some chat on the
Yes.
board with Chef and Mumba, I think, talking about the Chelsea lineup, and it sounded pretty light on.
yeah, well, I hope so because we're at home. So hopefully we get that done. Just edges us closer to that top six, and then we'll rest. We should beat West Brom anyway because they're gash.
Well, yeah, I mean, they got the draw against Spurs and Leicester, so they kind of pull out those weird results against the bigger clubs sometimes. And I know, was it last season or
Actually.
was it a couple of seasons ago where they did the double over you or something?
Yeah, there was a ridiculous game. I think it was Brendan Rodgers' first game in charge, I think, a few years ago. And they got like 2 penalties in the one game. We got Skirtel sent off, and they just killed us like 3-0 or 3-1 or something on opening day. It was horrible. It's horrible. I don't even want to bring it up. Let's not talk about that.
Sorry, Cookson?
I was just going to say, this is probably a game where both clubs kind of won't care. Liverpool, let's be honest, it's a glorified training run. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I do.
it really is.
Chelsea.
The Chelsea game, I see Liverpool caring a bit about the Chelsea game, especially after a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, but still, it's just like, it's a last home game. It'll be more about, celebrating the season. Chelsea, they're like, yeah, play youth. Who cares? We've got no European football. They're already
Chelsea are-
partying on the beach.
Yeah.
One thing I haven't asked
There's
you about
nothing
yet,
right against Chelsea.
one thing I haven't asked you about yet, Jod, was about Sacco and if there's been any sort of developments with his situation, or are they still? Do you know if they're still just investigating the whole issue?
It's hard to have an opinion when you don't have any of the facts. I
Yeah,
mean, if he knows he's cheating, then I don't even want him at the club. And I love Sacco. I think he's a beast. But if he's knowingly cheating, then I don't want him at Liverpool. But if he is being honest and he has taken something that he didn't know that there was something in there, or the story is something that his wife gave him something and he didn't know, and if he truly doesn't know, then slap on the wrist. You should know better, and have his 6 months off and come back. But until we have more information, I'm not really going to judge him either way.
Speaking from experience at a similar point last season, bringing that minnow club into it, Jake Livermore was tested positive for cocaine, and my first reaction was just utter fury and anger with him because, as you say, if he's knowingly taken something, you can't help but want him out of the club. And especially with the position we were in, I was pretty furious with him. But obviously, after a few weeks, more intense details emerged about the motivations behind it and the context and all of that sort of thing. And your opinion did change quite drastically, and he's obviously been welcomed back into the club. So, I mean, as you say quite rightly, it's hard to have an opinion until all the facts are known. Though there is obviously that instinct to sort of assume the worst, I
I
suppose.
didn't know about Liverpool. Did he accidentally take cocaine or what?
No. So the issue with Livermore was actually that he'd had his child had actually died in. I don't know if the child died in childbirth or shortly after, but it was basically the fault of the hospital, and he was in pretty severe depression as a result of that. And yeah, I mean it's a long tangent to draw, a long bow to draw that cocaine use is somehow helping him with that. But there were these sort of extreme circumstances, and the FA basically agreed and waived basically said that he'd served his time by, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks into the season. So at the same time, yeah, he's still knowingly taken it. So there's still that argument. There's still those
Extenuating circumstances, though,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. So it's a bit of an interesting one, but from the point of view of, yeah, you want to wait till all the facts are known, but it's still that sort of, the instinct is sort of to assume the worst in some cases.
Yeah, I'm annoyed at him though, obviously, because I mean we've got such a huge game coming up, and he's already missed big games, which we've managed to get through without him. But it'd be much better if we had him back there with Lovren partnering. So, I mean, if we end up losing to Sevilla with a bad defensive mistake by Colatori or something, I'm going to be even more furious with him. But there's nothing we can do. So
Yeah. Well, we'll move on then to sort of
This is
brighter.
what happens when you listen.
Sorry, Cookson?
with it. In Colo,
This is what happens when you listen to Shawnee.
Fair enough. Well, we'll move on then to brighter topics and chat about the coming final weekend of the Premier League. All games at the same time on the Sunday night, midnight our time. What is it? 10 p.m. your time, Jod. We've got an interesting set of fixtures, I suppose. We've got Leicester Leicester away to Chelsea in their final game of the season. Do we see Leicester as going full strength in that one, or do we reckon they might kind of celebrate and give some of the squad a game?
That's an interesting one.
Give the squad a
What do you
game.
think?
I mean, just let all the players play. Doesn't really matter. It's probably be Leicester. Probably a 1-1 draw. Eden Hazard receiving greater reception from Leicester fans than half the Leicester players.
Well, yeah, I mean, he won them the title pretty much, didn't he? I wonder if they'd give Schwarzer a game.
Oh, might as well. What harm does it, Trav?
Yeah. Score prediction from you, Jod?
Sports is still money. Leicester and Chelsea, it's just the most pointless of pointless games. I think Leicester will probably play close to full strength and just win anyway because they're just way better than Chelsea. So, wait, is it away? Is it at Stamford Bridge?
It's at Stamford Bridge, yeah.
Oh, maybe a draw. No, Chelsea is shit. Let's draw.
Arsenal at home to Aston Villa, and that does have a bit of spice to it because obviously if Arsenal can win that, it really puts pressure on Spurs to also win their game or at least draw. So that they can finish above Arsenal and avoid another St. Totteringham's Day. Arsenal at home to Villa surely is just going to be a walkover for Arsenal, you would expect. Maybe 3 or 4-0?
Arsenal to lose.
Oh,
Get
that'd
outta
be
here.
catastrophic.
It's
Get
an
outta
Arsenal
here.
thing to do. We all know what's going to happen.
I would tell you, I would put my life savings on Arsenal beating Villa at home. It's a foregone conclusion.
It's the sort of game, I feel like every season they had, I think it was last season they had West Brom, I can't remember who it was the year before, where Walcott always seems to play and he always seems to score a hat-trick or he scores a few goals because he always looks really good at the end of the season and then all through the
He buys
pre-season.
himself time.
Yeah,
he gets another contract.
He gets a new
Yeah.
contract and then they talk about him as a striking option and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, I reckon they'll win 4 or 5-0 in that one, to be honest.
Oh, they'll snatch him. Look, Aston Villa's won 3 games all season. They're not
Yeah.
going to beat Arsenal at Emirates. There's no chance.
Yeah. Everton at home to Norwich, also a pretty meaningless game. I assume by then Norwich will be down. I mean, there is that slim chance if Sunderland lose to Everton tomorrow morning that the Norwich's chances could still be alive if they can get a result against, I think they've got Watford tomorrow morning. So there's a slim chance that this game will
still
have
alive.
relevance. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think
That's what happens midweek.
if they beat Watford, I think they're level on points with Newcastle, so they'd only be one behind Sunderland, assuming Sunderland lose to Everton. So there's a lot of ifs for Norwich, but Everton
If
have
they're
been
still
pretty
alive
dreadful.
on final day, should be a good game. But if they're not, it'll be a funeral, won't it? Off you go. Championship.
Yeah. Cookson, thoughts on this one?
Ugh, probably Everton. 1-0.
United at home to Bournemouth. We were talking about this just before. I mean, this could be anything really because United are a bit up and down at the moment. Only got over Norwich 1-0 on the weekend. A win for your boys, Cookson?
There'll be a win. There'll be one win, and there'll be one Mutual agreement to leave after the FA Cup.
Mutual agreement. Okay.
I was reading rumours that with that whole Sanchez deal to Bayern Munich, that LVG said no, didn't want Sanchez, suggesting that he's still in charge of who's coming and who's going in the summer, suggesting he'll still be there next year.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I've also heard that someone at the club said it's not happening because the Jose rumors started massively around February.
Well, what if United somehow finish top four and he wins the FA Cup? You can't get rid of him then, can you?
Sack him. It's only 5 million.
You've got both your fingers crossed, don't you, Jod? You're just hoping he does it.
No, to be honest, I hope they beat Bournemouth on the weekend and City draw and Man United miss out on top four on goal difference.
That'd be great.
That's the dream.
Well,
the best would have been if City had won the Champions League and United had got fourth, and Liverpool then had the chance to win Europa to basically deny United Champions League.
Wouldn't it be great?
Surely that's the dream, yeah.
Laugh forever.
No one cares about Europa League though.
Newcastle at home to Spurs. I mean, I touched on it before, but I'm pretty sure Newcastle have a decent record against Spurs. This is another pretty interesting game at both ends of the table. Obviously, if Spurs can win that, it locks away second spot, and if Newcastle win that, it gives them a slight chance of staying up. Granted, that's relying on Sunderland not winning tomorrow morning. Do we see Spurs winning this one, I guess?
No, Newcastle will win. Spurs are just not mentally there, I would say.
Yeah, Spurs have fallen off the old mental wagon, haven't they? But it all depends. Again, we're talking about 2 fixtures in advance, so it's hard. I mean,
yeah.
If Newcastle is still in it, then the game means so much more to them, but they could be buried by then, so they'll just turn up and be on holiday already, so it's hard to predict. We'll know more tomorrow after the results of the midweek games.
Yeah, I think there's a lot riding on tomorrow morning. Probably the definition of pointless game. We've got Southampton at home to Crystal Palace. I mean, as it stands, Southampton is still a chance at 5th. I can't really see both West Ham and United losing on the final day, but there is a slim chance that could occur. Southampton have looked pretty good, and obviously Palace will be just basically focused on that FA Cup final. So I'd fancy Southampton at home in that one.
Definitely. Southampton's definitely going to win that game. They've got way more to play for. Europa League still a real possibility for them. And Crystal Palace have all eyes on other things. So, although, having said that, Palace players will be playing for their spots in the FA Cup final, so they'll want to impress because they want spots in the big one. So, but Southampton at home for me.
Cooksen?
Southampton actually in pretty good form, so probably Southampton 3-0.
West Ham away to Stoke. I mean, this is one of those other games if people are interested in that battle for Europe and the battle for the 5th spot, I suppose, with 4th spot pretty much out of West Ham's reach, I would think. Stoke have been on the beach for a while now, so I'd probably back West Ham in this one away from home.
Yeah, West Ham to win.
I like the draw in this one because Stoke are annoying. So.
As good a reason as any.
Yeah.
Swansea at home to Man City. We touched on this one a little bit earlier. Swansea, I mean, they beat a pretty understrength Liverpool, so that was sort of an expected result in some respects. But then they did a pretty full-strength West Ham as well on the weekend, winning 4-1. So that was a pretty surprising result from a team that I think most people had expected to have kind of put the cue in the rack, so to speak. So it'll be an interesting one for Man City away from home, where they've struggled pretty much all season. Do we see maybe a draw in this one?
Swansea to win.
Swansea to win, you think?
Have faith.
Well, of course you want Swansea to win, but I think if Swansea are consistently inconsistent, that's what Swansea are. So they've had 2 good results, and now they'll put in a shocker because that's Swansea.
Well, look, I hope so. I hope Aguero can score an absolute bagful in that one. I wouldn't mind that as a result.
What a meanie you are, SM.
Look, if he wants to score a hat-trick in a 4-3 loss, all glory to you on that. We'll celebrate together. Watford at home to Sunderland could be a big game, and as we say, depending on tomorrow's results, could be absolutely meaningless. But knowing Sunderland and the way they like to finish seasons, I probably see them getting a pretty easy result against Watford in that one.
Yeah,
it's
Sunderland
probably
6-0.
Sunderland.
Yeah. What's that? Sunderland 6-0.
For all six. Yeah, Defoe for all six.
Jeez. And then
Sunderland won't do
Sunderland
it.
will win that game.
and then
it won't quite be 6, but they'll win.
yeah, I think they'll probably win that one.
Sorry,
pretty easy.
NFC Tiger. Sorry, bro. Newcastle.
Yeah, it's
Love
going to
him,
be
bro.
tough. And last
Stick
but
around, SM, when his team went down, if you're listening.
yeah, well, hopefully I'll be celebrating being back up in the Premier League before too long.
Can we handle that, SM? Can we handle it?
Can we handle it? Yeah, well, I'll be back in the big league. I won't be in the minnow thread anymore. Last but not least, it's West Brom at home to Liverpool. There was an interesting result last year between Liverpool and Stoke on the final day, and I would say that West Brom's a pretty similar team to that sort of Stoke side. So, do you reckon we could see a similar result, Jod?
Oh, you're breaking up, mate. I can't remember that Stoke game, so I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I can't hear. Sorry. Next question.
So,
No,
play the kids
No,
and
we'll
still
be-
hope for a win?
Yeah, we'll play the kids and still hope for a win because West Brom are pretty average. It's a way, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I don't know. Depends who we trot out, I guess. Rumours Danny Ings might make the bench. You heard that?
Oh, really? Apparently, apparently Origi might be fit for the final as well. So I wonder if he'd get a run out off the bench.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd want to throw him straight in the final. So if he's available, they might throw him on the bench as well. It'll just be kids. I think Kevin Stewart will get a run out. Maybe Connor Randall at right back. Danny Ward in goal. Danny Ward is quite good though, actually. So no, but we'll beat West Brom because we'll be looking to build momentum heading into the big one.
this is a game that
Cooksen?
just really doesn't matter. Liverpool have got bigger things, and West Brom probably just don't care. So
It's
2-all draw.
We've then got a couple of cup finals that we can chat about now. Two of them are actually involving your side, so we'll probably start with the FA Cup final because we'll start with the Europa League final because I think that's the first of the three, isn't it? That's next Thursday morning.
Yeah. Stupid time.
We've already been talking about it a little bit
is stupid.
in the other previews. Yeah, it's an interesting time for it. It's not even on the Friday morning. It's not the normal Europa time. It's a day
Yeah,
early.
midweek. It's weird.
Small stadium in Basel. Klopp telling everyone to get over
Another
if you don't even have a ticket, and then being told, oh, well, actually, no, they should all stay home. They don't have a ticket.
Yeah, that was great.
How do you rate your chances?
Oh, it's stressful just talking about it. It'd be an epic disappointment if we don't win it. I mean, we bitch-slapped Manchester United. That was fun. Then the epic comeback against Borussia Dortmund. We lose away against Villarreal and come back. I mean, it's written in the stars, isn't it? But Sevilla are no pushover. I mean, they've won the last two, haven't they? And they're going for 3 in a row.
3 in a row, yeah.
They've got plenty of good players. That Gamero is a tricky customer. I just don't know. I'm too frightened to talk about it, really. Whenever I think about it, I kind of just crawl down into the fetal position and sort of rock back and forth. So
What's you have to remind me, what's Klopp's record like in cup finals recently? I can't remember.
it's not great, actually.
Really? That's a
right.
surprise.
Yeah.
Lose to
Thanks for bringing that up.
Bayern Munich. Lost to Bayern Munich. I think it's probably another.
I believe
loss to
he
Bayern
won.
Munich. There was
I
one
believe he
win.
won his first cup, and then since
It's
then he
been
hasn't won
downhill
one.
since then, yeah. Wow, he's got to
Yeah.
break that streak at some point, surely.
The issue is the stadium.
What's the is it 25,000 or something?
No, it's not that. It's not
Yeah,
the
it's
capacity.
35.
It's the
Oh,
fact that English clubs play like shit in Basel.
What's the
mean,
record
that's-
like there?
That's a fact. I mean, United have lost there so many times. Liverpool have lost there. Chelsea.
Yeah, we lost
But
to
that could
Basel.
be due to FC Basel. If they faced English opposition, they would win. it.
Yeah, we're not playing Basel. We're playing Sevilla, so that's all right.
But still,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
3 in a row.
The way you
to
look
me-
at it, like Villarreal are what, 4th in La Liga,
Yeah.
and Sevilla are 7th. We took care of Villarreal, right? So math.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
Sevilla
Oh,
have
that's
probably
right.
been one of the best sides in Europe. Well, one of the better sides. I mean, they've won 4 trophies in 10 years. I mean, handy record.
Yeah, it's quite impressive, isn't it?
And then I think it's...
Cooksen, who you picking, obviously? You picking Sevilla?
You should ask Cooksen that, yeah.
Well, I mean, Sevilla have the form, so 1-0.
What a surprise.
Oh, I don't know what I'm going to pick in this one, actually. I think my gut says Liverpool, just because I do actually think, and I've suggested it on the board to the... receiving the heat from many people, that Liverpool actually do stand up quite well in the big games.
They do.
Especially...
And Klopp's a very good motivator.
Yeah, and you've been managing the squad very well coming into these games, basically rotating quite well in the league. I would probably say Liverpool edge it, maybe 2-1, maybe scoring the winner in extra time. But I think it'll be a really good match, so I'm quite looking forward to it.
I feel the difference might be that we probably have, and I'm not bigging up the squad or anything like that, but when it comes to a one-off game, we've probably got more match winners, more guys that pop up and do something special. You know, your Coutinho's or your Sturridge or Firmino or someone like that. So hopefully we get it done. Hopefully.
And then United have their title chance or trophy chance against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup the following weekend. Cooksen, chances in that one?
Well, depends.
That sounds confident.
Well, I don't know what Louis van Gaal's going to line up. For all I know, he could probably play Wayne Rooney in midfield and he'll just spend half the game passing it to Antonio Valencia.
Quality.
I mean, you'd think though
He plays the horny football.
if Martial shows up and De Gea shows up, I would back us to win. So, yeah, United 2-0 and meet a party and get drunk because we've survived the torture.
Well, all I have to say is that I'm just glad that it won't be Arsenal for a third time because we've managed to silence Cruyff's three-peat hashtags. It was hard enough just with Hawthorn, let alone with the FA Cup. What was that, sorry?
I almost quit Big Footy over Cruyff and repeat, so...
Oh, mate, just after the Hull final, I almost quit Big Footy with the amount that he was carrying on about it, so...
He really was.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the match, Jod?
Oh, it's tough, isn't it, with United? Because they can go from being quite good, which is very rare, to be fair, to being just okay and just enough to do the job, to downright gash. And if they turn up and be just utterly woeful, they will lose because Crystal Palace, despite being Crystal Palace, are, decent. And they do have Balassi, and I like Balassi, and he likes to score goals. So... I don't know. If United turn up, they'll win. But if they don't, Crystal Palace have every chance. Depends if... Did anyone see De Gea's save last night for West Ham's third, was it? West Ham's third or second?
Was it the third one from Reed, where he kind of palmed it? Got a palm to it, but it...
Yeah, kind of palmed it. And just...
He was pretty weak for the first as well.
Into his own net.
Yeah,
that was some quality keeping.
The first was a pretty
we can forgive him,
poor keeping as well, though.
We can forgive him. He's saved the team numerous times. He's allowed to have a bad night.
Well, he's a bit like Mignolet, though. To be honest, I mean, Mignolet can have his games where he can just be absolutely outstanding with the saves that he makes, but then can have some absolute terrible blunders. I mean, granted that De Gea does it on a much rarer occasion than Mignolet, but. They can both have pretty big brain fades on occasion.
When did they have a brain fade this season?
This season? Oh, he's had a few games where he's had pretty poor moments. I thought West Ham's first last night was pretty poor. What about Bournemouth's Bournemouth's goal from straight from the corner?
Just like one mistake, he's forgiven.
Bournemouth's goal straight from the corner that you flapped it in. If you say so.
That happens once every bloody 5 years. Best goalkeeper in the world, though.
What's that, sorry?
He will save your life. If you wanted De Gea to carry your baby, he would carry it kindly. If you wanted De Gea to carry something, you could trust De Gea with your baby.
Oh, all right.
I would just carry it, nurture it. Dave saves.
And then the final cup final that we've got coming up is the Champions League final. It's a local Madrid derby, to be honest. It's between Atletico and Real Madrid, so it's a pretty interesting game on that alone. Atletico have pretty decent form this season in terms of their defence. If you look at the goals that they've conceded in the Champions League, it's pretty remarkable that they've done so well. And then obviously Real Madrid are Real Madrid. Do we see any chance of Atletico getting up in that one?
I think
Certainly.
Atletico should be favourites.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
I like Atletico to get up. I think they'll do the old classic 1-0. I think they're terrific defensively. Absolutely terrific defensively. Simeone always gets them up for the big occasion.
Where is the final?
That's a good question.
Milan, San Siro.
Okay. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm picking Atletico in that one. Fernando Torres winner. Why not?
Of course, I forgot about that element. Jod, how do you say it?
Yeah, no, Atletico.
Oh, sorry, I mean Cooksen.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, sorry, Cooksen, how do you say it?
Again, Atletico, I mean, admittedly, they've only scored 61 goals in the league compared to Real's 108. Admittedly, they don't have the goal scoring of Ronaldo, but they've only conceded 18 goals in a season, though. I mean, that's
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much, half a goal a game. I mean, that's defense that you can get horny over.
Yeah.
And they haven't, and they've had numerous clean sheets in the Champions League as well. I mean, they beat Barcelona and Bayern Munich. That's no joke of a team, and they have a solid defense.
They can keep out Barcelona. They can keep out Real Madrid.
Yeah, you think, and it's Bayern as well. Was it 1-0 at Bayern? No, it was 2-1, wasn't it? So, yeah I guess 1-0 at Atletico.
Does anyone have the head-to-head for Atletico Real this year?
Keep talking. I'll pull it up.
It's 4-2 to I think Real and 1-2 to
Real Madrid put 4 past Atletico?
No, I'm sorry. I think it's 2-1 and 1-1.
So Real Madrid won 2-1 and then drew 1-1?
Yeah. But again, it's the hard-working midfield of Atletico that's going to get it. I mean, they got Saul.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, Koke.
Koke's a good player.
Oliver. I mean, Gabby. Not to mention, and probably one of the best strikers in the world, Antoine Griezmann.
Well, just looking at it, Atletico's managed to keep clean sheets against Real on a couple of occasions this season, so that bodes pretty well for them. All at home, though, mind you.
Well, it's not really a home or an away match, is it? So it's foreign ground for both. So
that'll certainly make it interesting. So tips from both of you. So you're both going Atletico?
I'm sticking my neck out and going Atletico 1-0.
And Cooksen?
Atletico 2. Actually, no. Atletico 3. Real Madrid 2. After extra time.
Exciting final. You're going from exciting or goals final.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
I mean, Ronaldo's going to score. He rises at these moments. So I'll back Ronnie in. But, sorry.
That's right. Thanks for coming on, boys. We'll finish off with just one final question. I'll get from both of you your player of the season so far. I'll start with Cooksen. So, not just at United, looking around the entire league, who do you see as your player of the season?
All right. For the Premier League, it would have to be Kante.
Yeah.
Without a question.
Stealing my player, but that's all right. Go for it.
Well, we all have the same player anyway. For United, I'm going to go dead tie. David De Gea, Anthony Martial.
No, get out of here.
For La Liga, I'm going to shun the big two. It's going to be Suarez and Griezmann. I mean, very close, but Suarez...
I don't think he's going to get much argument about Suarez on here.
Well, he's been better than Ronaldo, and Messi has been out of form a bit. Well, compared to Messi standards. And yeah, probably... Oh, for Syria, yeah, don't know, probably Pogba, which sucks balls.
And Germany?
I'll go either Muller or Lewandowski.
Fair enough.
But I do rate Henry Mkhitaryan's impact.
How about you, Jod? Don't have to go through all the European leagues if you don't need to, if you don't want to.
Yeah, I probably don't see enough of all European leagues to really comment. I mean, you can give the La Liga's best player to Suarez, though, couldn't you? Because he's been phenomenal, hasn't he? Though
I should get your thoughts on him.
I know I harp on about him, but the bloke's a genius. He's just an absolute genius. He's very, very good. Premier League, I'm going to stick with Cooksen on this one and go with N'Golo Kante. I think the guys at the top end of the pitch get a lot of the plaudits because they get on the end of everything, but he does all the work in the middle of the ground. And I'll tell you what, if I could sign one player next season, I'd stick him right next to Emre Can in midfield, and off we go, win the league. He's a pretty special player, that Kante, I think.
Got to be very careful of that pronunciation on here. And so we kind of touched on your Liverpool player of the season before, but if you could split them, I think were you saying it was between Coutinho and Firmino?
Well, that's the consensus amongst supporters. You could throw in Emre Can in there as well. I'm going to go a little left field, or actually, I'm going to go a little right back actually, and give it to Nathaniel Klein.
Interesting.
He's been a picture of consistency all season. He's an absolutely cracking right back, and he's never put in a bad game. So,
yeah. Well, I'm going to
shocking haircut though. Shocking haircut.
I think there's a few players in Manchester who have worse haircuts across the ditch from you guys.
Haircut, yeah.
Samu Nasri.
I must comment, Cooksen, what are you talking about, man? There's no way Martial and De Gea are equal. Get out of here. You're just jumping on the Pele Jr. bandwagon. He's okay, Martial, don't get me wrong. He's had a decent season. But let's not go crazy.
But we are. This is a podcast. Logic is not needed.
He's scored, 9 goals all year?
Yeah, something
17.
like that, yeah.
Top scorer.
Yeah, in all competitions maybe, not in the Premier League though.
No, he overtook Rooney.
Sure, but he only 9 in the Premier League.
Man United, I would have given it to Wayne Rooney. What a terrific year he's had. So.
He's probably contributed more by getting himself injured and actually giving Rashford and stuff a go.
Exactly, by not playing. Sacrifice.
Well, I'll make it a clean sweep and also go with Kante as my player of the season in the Premier League. I think he's really sort of, even with the plaudits he's received, he's still a bit underrated with the amount of work that he actually does around the field for Leicester. And then if we're sticking with our own clubs for also talking about player of the season, it's a pretty
Hernandez.
tough one. Probably Hernandez. I mean, he was the popular choice with the players because he scored 21 goals for the season, which is amazing because without that we'd just be mid to lower table, to be honest.
Goals win games.
After last season, I think he scored 3 goals in the league last season, and most people were keen to get rid of him, and I think the club were keen to get rid of him if someone came in with an offer to buy, but those damn Italian clubs just want their loan to purchase sort of deals, and we said no, so it was our game.
I can't do Italian clubs. I can't do it.
Yeah. So probably Hernandez. Honourable mentions though to Sam Clucas. I mean, we bought him for $1 million from Chesterfield, and I thought he'd just be some backup player who did nothing. And I think he's got something like 7 goals and 9 assists or something. So it's a pretty tidy season for him as well.
Can I ask you a question, SM?
You can.
The playoffs are coming up, are they not?
Yeah, they are. We've got our first leg this Saturday night.
This Saturday?
7:30 your time, actually, so it's prime time for you.
Who'd you get in the... Yeah, it is, yeah.
Derby in the playoffs.
Derby, isn't it? Holland Derby and Brighton
and Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday. First, do you like your chances?
Look, if you'd asked me a couple of weeks ago, I would have said no, because we've been in pretty dreadful form and basically limped into the playoffs. But we've sort of sorted out our side, and we beat Rotherham 5-1 last weekend as a sort of decent warm-up. They probably didn't care about the game, so you can't really argue that it was a good performance against good opposition. But as far as giving the squad confidence, and we scored some pretty decent goals, to be honest. I mean, Hernandez scored a bicycle kick, and then Snodgrass scored a top corner beauty as well. So as far as giving the players confidence, I think we're as confident as we can be going into the game.
And when you think about the playoffs, do you sort of join me in the sort of the fetal position?
Yes.
Because
It's nervous excitement, I think, is the best way to describe it. I mean,
but not just any other year though. This year in particular, because of the prize,
yeah, there's just so much
the added money and everything else that's going on in the Premier League. It's a big year to go up.
And the context as well with the club is there's a lot of off-field issues with the club at the moment. They've scrapped the season tickets and they've brought in a membership scheme, which is quite similar to what we have here. The only difference being that there are no concession prices. So they make the point quite rightly that all of the adults will now only be paying about £21 a month to watch potentially Premier League football, which is an amazingly good deal. But the issue being that you're going from having, I think it was £35 or £50 season tickets for kids to them also paying £21 a month in the cheapest section, and there isn't only limited seats in that cheapest section. So old age pensioners and kids are basically getting hit really hard with this, and it's almost seen as them subsidising adults, and no one's happy with it really. So I think we've sold something like 5,000 tickets for next season, memberships for next season, which is woeful for a club of our stature in the championship. So there's a lot riding on actually going up in terms of that financial security and hopefully forcing the owners to sell the club. I mean, there's a bit of a worry that going up means that they'll be quite happy to stick with the club and pocketing all of that money, but the hope is that it kind of gives them that chance to sell the club to a decent owner. So on the field and off the field, there's a lot of incentive to get up. So thanks for coming on, guys.
No worries.
It was my pleasure. It finally happened. We've done
It finally did. You know what the next step is now?
Get Dr. Colonoscopy on.
No, we'll sit down and we'll have a game of poker sometime, mate.
Bring it on, mate. Bring it on.
So thank you everyone for listening in, and until next time we'll probably do an end of season roundup after the Champions League final, after the playoff final, and hopefully I can look back on this season but also look forward to another season in the Premier League next year. So until then,
Good luck.
yeah, thank you. Until then, thank you everyone for listening in, and we'll see you on the forums.